Alright, so you want to learn how to get the Jordan 2 Chicagos, right? You in the right place. And I'm going to show you how anybody can get them in this video. Alright, so on the 30th, we have the Jordan 2 Chicago. And I'm going to start off by telling you this, bro. The Jordan 2 itself isn't a hype retro, a hype silhouette, just a hype sneaker like that. However, it is one of those OG colorway. And honestly, this is probably the hardest colorway outside of course, the off-whites, which we are going to get into. But the reason for the little hype it does have, because not only is it a OG colorway, it's a Chicago colorway. It's probably the most hype colorway I'm talking about, period, across the board. And the only thing that might rival it is probably the UNC colorway. Let me know in the comments which colorway you think is more hype, which one you personally like more. Either way, I'm going on my gut here and I'll explain. But in short, this is a really clean shoe and I think it's gonna be worth going for. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how you can get it. However, I do want to tell you, I am a little worried about this shoe, and let me tell you why. OG colorways aren't garnering as much hype as they once did. Cardinal 7s just dropped. That's an OG colorway. It sat on shelves. The fire red 3s, which came to a surprise to me, honestly, bro, but at first they bricked. And like both of those, you could probably go into the mall right now and get those. Now with the Cardinal 7s, I get it, right? Because most 7s aren't hype at all, bro, if we're gonna be honest. And the only 7 that might have some hype, if it's not a Travis, if it's not an off-white collab, then probably the Olympic 7. But other than that, I kind of understand why 7s just in today's world, even some OG colorways might brick. Now 3s as a overall as a shoe, it's kind of hit or miss, right? I'll say this, most 3s do brick. However, I didn't feel like an OG colorway of a 3 would ever brick, because 3s still do kind of have that hype for the right colorway. Take for example the UNC 3s, which for sure did not brick. And that leads me to these 2s, bro, because honestly I can't remember the last time a 2 actually released that wasn't an off-white collab. And like I mentioned earlier, bro, an off-white collab, a Travis collab, something like that could even probably take the Monarchs to another level, bro. Either way, the Chicago colorway might be hype enough to even make these 2s not brick. All right, so let's jump into how to get them. And in this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from the most practical, which is the most realistic, down to least practical. And I want to start by saying this, bro. A shoe like this, I think every single one of these is gonna be practical. I think you're gonna have a fair shot on every single platform. However, I just want to rank it in order so that maybe you know what to prioritize. All right, so number 1, the finishline flex system, right? I've told this story several times on my channel. My boy Sniper Kicks a couple summers ago kind of started putting the world onto the finishline status system, and what that is basically finishline rewarding shoppers, right? So you get points, so you start off getting 10 points per dollar spent, and once you got about 2,000 points built up, which is enough points to redeem the shoe, but I'll tell you how that works once you have about 2,000 points. So I think we did the math and that came out to about $200. Either way, you set your finish line location, and then once a shoe comes out, you're gonna get what's called EA, early access, on this sneaker. Now once you get EA, you go in, reserve the size, and then boom, you go pick it up. It's literally that easy. However, you have to go rack up those points. So if you're gonna go shop for clothes, if you're gonna go shop for socks, whatever, just build those points up, bro, and I promise you, you will never miss out on a release, because I can vouch for you, bro. That has worked for me, and honestly, I'm telling you, Finishline has caught me when sneakers has failed me, when the foot sites and flex failed me, which we're gonna get to next. In-store raffles, whatever you want to call it, bro, Finishline always comes through, bro. So make sure you do that. That's the best way to get any shoe, any GR that's gonna release. All right, the next best way, in my opinion, is gonna be the sneakers app, right? These are gonna be in women's, in men's. I believe they're coming out in kids too. So what that always is gonna tell us for our new people that's trying to get into sneaker reselling, what that's always gonna tell us, bro, is that there is a sufficient amount of stock, right? So because the hype isn't super crazy on this shoe, like a Travis, like a Lobster, like all those other shoes, bro, I think 4 out of every 10 people get this shoe, which is a lot on the sneakers app, bro. So if you've been following me over the last couple of weeks, then you know that I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole of exercising multiple sneakers accounts. That's always gonna boost your chances. I have a video where I go into depth and break that whole thing down. If you want to watch it, click this link. To answer a lot of questions I get about using multiple accounts on the sneakers app, a lot of people ask me, bro, can I use the same payment method? No, you can't. Count to one payment method, right? Now you can use tools like Privacy. You can use tools like Slash to go ahead and have several different payment methods. However, you cannot share the same billing details. In fact, so somebody hit me up and they were like, Rico, bro, me and my brother, we live in the same house. We use the same payment method. It seems like the only time one of us hits is when the other one is not going for the shoe. The reason is because they have two separate accounts, but they're on the same payment method. Nike's trying to be super strict against bots, which is understandable. However, they're using things to filter out bots, right? So that's something you definitely do not want to do. Another question that I'm asked when it comes to using multiple accounts on the sneakers app is, can I use the same address? No, sir, you cannot use the same address. What you should do is jig your address, right? And I have a video where I go deeper into depth on that. But to sum that up, jigging your address is pretty much, it's altering it so that bot protection cannot detect that this is the same address. So for example, if your address is 123 Main Street, then you would do 123 Main Street on one account, and then you do 123 Main and then spell out street, or you'd even go on the second line and do 123 Main Street, room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many accounts you need. The last and most important thing when it comes to bot protection and you not being filtered out as a bot, a lot of people say, hey bro, can I run all these different devices on my Wi-Fi? No sir, you cannot. That's the first way for them to detect activity and stuff like that. So what you have to do is if you have a phone, use your phone's cellular data, right? Use your computer, use the Wi-Fi on the computer, use your phone's cellular data. If you have a tablet that has its own data plan, then you should do that as well, because you need to be on different IPs. You can't all be in the same place. And no, you can't run the same account on 6 different devices as I've been asked before, right? Because ultimately, if let's say, okay, boom, I'm going to enter on this device, which is my phone, but then when I get to my tablet to sign in or whatever, it's going to say that you're already in. So that just couldn't work at all. Also, one piece of advice I want to give everybody, right? Because I've seen this even in my own personal Discord where a lot of people were trying to enter for drops and they were saying that the icon just spins and spins and spins for sneakers. I'm telling you, bro, just keep on doing it. Keep going, keep spamming it. It's gonna let you in. I know that from experience, and I've just kind of got that information. I've seen people pretty much tell everybody in their groups to do that, so I want to share that information with you. Now, the next way I'm going to recommend is the Foot Locker Champs Flex system. Right now it's similar to the status system actually, except I believe you get 100 points per dollar spent. Now there's not an actual dollar amount that I'm going to tell you to go spend, simply because the flex system from my experience has been kind of hit or miss. Right now it works the same way as most reward programs do. You get rewarded for shopping, you get points, and the way it used to be was that the more points you had, the more likely you were to be selected on these certain type of raffles. Right now that system completely catered to resellers, so they had to change it, right? The problem is that you're never gonna escape resellers, right? You're never gonna escape resellers exploiting these systems, just being honest. So what it did was make it to where nobody really knows what you need to do to hit on the Flex app, right? There's people that have millions of points, right, that used to hit on every single release, are on like months losing streaks, right? Now let me tell you where that's kind of a positive, right? If you're an everyday person, if you're somebody who doesn't have thousands of dollars spent with Foot Locker, then it seems like more of the pairs are going to them on the Flex system. However, also still seeing resellers cook the Flex system as well. So you might be asking, well, you know, that actually sounds like we all have a fair chance there too, and you're right. However, I wanted to kind of get across something that I think is valuable that a lot of people should hear, especially if you're a beginner getting into sneaker reselling, bro, and that is ultimately Flex has been the least way that I've been able to secure shoes, right? But that's just me. I have buddies, you know what I mean, the Sniper Kicks on YouTube completely cooks Flex, it seems like, every release. So what that means pretty much is what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. All you can do is take information from everybody. Think of it like a recipe, right? Take spices, take ingredients from each of us, bro, and put it in your pot and make it work for you. Rico gang, I love y'all. Let's get it.